Welcome once again to Eastern Newsbeat on Channel 31 or Digital 44. Peter MacArthur and Bill Page with you. A little bit later, Bill will be talking with people, but right now, Bill and I are going to bring up things and remember, Eastern Newsbeat, it covers the eastern part of Melbourne, although it can be seen all over the place. We concentrate a lot on stories in the east of Melbourne. And so we're just looking through some of the local newspapers. We've noticed a trend that the newspapers are concerned and are picking up a number of consumer affairs issues. There's a head office, a regional office of Victorian Consumer Affairs at Box Hill, very active and getting out the warnings to people. Bill, one of the things that I've noticed this week, they're pushing both papers and the two separate articles about people who are making complaints against the Taxation Department and the Immigration Department. Not really, because these people are fakes. These people faking officers, faking identification as an officer of immigration and also taxation, are going around threatening people. A lot of people not knowing the full rules will give in and money will have to change hands. I don't know whether you've heard of this.
No, I haven't. So tell us a little bit more then. Yeah.
Well, especially with the boat people business, that makes it a very sensitive issue. Some people who are going through sensitive immigration arrangements with the Commonwealth are finding a person who comes to them, or several people, and says, we're from immigration and some of your paperwork is not right. We've looked back on it, and however you can fix it up by paying us $900 and everything will be okay.
So how do they know that, they knock on the door? And how do they know that these people are applying for immigration and stuff?
Who knows? It could be inside job, who knows.
Or are they just going randomly? And if
No, not random. They know their marks. So that means that there's some information getting out.
Yeah, inside job.
Yeah, and what a cruel thing to do. It is hard enough to do. I was speaking on the radio with Brian Williams, who's the region officer of Box Hill of Consumer Affairs. He says, yes, it's a very, very sad thing. They're very worried because it's happening more and more in the east, all over Melbourne, I guess.
Yeah, so is the tax thing targeting immigrants, or is that targeting anyone?
Well, the tax thing is another thing. People who are vulnerable. It said a man in Croydon, what did he lose? $20,000. He was a vulnerable person. He was slightly disabled, and what they're saying, what the Taxation Department are saying is, for goodness sake, look after your relations and friends who may be a little bit vulnerable and not right on top of these things. They're the ones that they will go with the taxation they go for. This man has lost $20,000 and it was a fake person pretending he was a tax officer.
Wow. So what are the police obviously are letting it known, but hopefully they're on the case as well, trying to get it solved. But they have to be inside jobs, don't they? Both through the Taxation Department and the Immigration Department. That's awful. I've never heard of this one before.
Well, it suggests that. You can't prove it. No one can prove it, but it suggests that. That's why Consumer Affairs would be the first people to look at it. And then if they think there's anything solid in, they'd bring the police in heavily. Same with the taxation, I guess. But it is a way, because they're picking, obviously, vulnerable people. The people who are immigrating, their vulnerability is based in lack of English, lack of knowledge.
Sorry, yeah, we both think the same thing.
What's going on. And, so Brian Williams and the Box Hill office. And by the way, you can use the Box Hill office if you've got any consumer affairs worries. Down there, Brian Williams is the regional officer. But another thing that's come up, Bill, it's not. This one is, we have a big football league out here, the Eastern Football League, and it covers really the whole of the eastern suburbs, out from Canterbury right up the valley, Yarra Valley. Another thing I want to mention, Bill, is we have a big football league out here, the Eastern Football League, EFL, every Saturday. The radio station out here covers it. We also cover it on Channel 31 or Channel 44. And it's You won't believe this, Australian rules football, it is the biggest Australian rules football league in Australia.
Even bigger than the AFL. Well, I suppose more teams than the AFL.
Yeah, I don't mean in money or anything, but I mean in number of teams.
Yeah.
I think it is the biggest of the number of teams and participants and members of any community sporting organisation in Australia.
It doesn't surprise me because there are lots of teams involved all around the outer east here.
And one of the reasons I'm mentioning this, because in this local paper it mentions that the CEO of the is retiring, and that's Rob Sharp. He's been there for 8 years, and Rob's retiring at the end of this year, and he's left the football organisation in a wonderful state. It's got these 4 divisions. I hear rumours that possibly down the track in a year or two there could be 5 divisions.
5 divisions, wow.
Yeah, that's what you've heard. You can't prove it, but that's what you've heard. If they can get 50 teams, and I think they've got about 43 now, they can then have 5 divisions of 10 each.
All right.
And that would be very good.
Yeah.
So we wish Rob Sharp well. Thanks for the job well done, Rob. And he's retiring as CEO.
So where would these teams come from? Other leagues, or would they be just started up fresh?
There are a few around here that formed. Look at Park Orchards. Just recently, it formed. It's playing well this year in Division 4.
Yeah.
And they, up to that point, sort of played junior football or church football or something like that. And they're teams that just grow in the community, which is a very healthy sign.
Oh, yeah.
And then some will transfer through dissatisfaction with another league.
Yeah, well, football clubs and any sporting club are the backbone and the heart of any little community, aren't they?
Sure are. Virtually every town's got a footy ground in this country.
Oh, yeah, that's for sure.
Victoria, especially.
Yeah. So, he's done a good job.
Yeah. Now, Bill, you had something you wanted to mention.
Yes, in the local papers also, and it's a thing with me is driving with mobile phones on your, talking and driving at the same time. So the police are going to do a crackdown on that. I think we need to have a crackdown on it all the time, actually, because I see it, well, not every day, but almost every day, someone driving around talking on a mobile phone, not a hands-free, and to me, it's just downright dangerous, and you shouldn't be doing it. You're putting everyone at risk. You're putting yourself at risk, anyone else who's in the car. Because I don't want to be in a car with someone talking on a mobile phone. I just don't want to be. And you're putting other people's lives at risk in other cars or pedestrians or cyclists, whatever. It is just downright dangerous. So hopefully the police will catch you.
Yeah, and it looks as though most of the people take phone calls rather than initiate them in the car.
Well,
but still that's just as bad, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. I don't care whether they're just taking phone calls or initiating one. Just pull over and talk. There's nothing too difficult about that.
I know.
Just pull over, stop, and then talk. No problems there with me.
Agreed, absolutely, Bill.
Yeah, it's a shocker.
Well, we'll just leave you for the moment. We'll have a break and then back with the program.
Flick the idea switch for your home renovation or build at Home of Lights. For over 30 years, Home of Lights have grown into the lighting specialists. We guarantee a massive range of products, expert service and competitive pricing. View our range at homeoflights.com.au or visit one of our 5 locations across Melbourne.
Home of Lights, we'll brighten your day.
Get your kicks at Steakhouse 66.
It's a fun night out with your friends.
The menu is hot, with mouth-watering selections of prime steaks,
Plus international cuisine.
great service and good times.
Book now, 9640 0808 or steakhouse66.com.au.
This commercial is about your next commercial venture. Our commercial venture can help you with yours. From concept through to completion, Commercial Food Machinery makes commercial kitchen ventures a reality. Our specialist design and manufacturing departments assist you through the whole process. With affordable finance solutions, we make things so much more affordable too. Make your dreams of opening a restaurant, cafe or commercial kitchen a reality. Commercial Food Machinery, Sunshine and Clayton, or visit cfm.com.au.
Attention boaties. Here are some important tips to keep your family and friends safe on the bay. Steer clear of shipping channels in Port Phillip Bay. Anchoring in shipping channels and fairways is dangerous and it's illegal. Don't tie up to navigational aids, buoys or channel markers. Remember, ships don't have brakes and can't change course quickly. Stay safe on the bay and steer clear of ships. This has been a safety message from the Port of Melbourne Corporation.
Tune in to C31 this spring.
Oh no!
We've got a bunch of great new shows.
Do not blame me if you are morbidly curious.
A, it's a hell of a lot of fun to use. B, it's really convenient.
I want you to go and find me contestant number 4.
Drives ahead with 9 points.
They're made in Melbourne and made for you.
I got balls to brush! Brush balls!
This film's terrible. It offers nothing. It makes no sense at all.
What do you think is too much information on social media?
C31 this spring. Tune in.
Let's do it!
TV's Channel 31 Eastern Newsbeat. Deanna Roberts here today chatting to Michelle Lykokapis. Now, Michelle is a cancer sufferer, but in particular in relation to stomach cancer, and an amazing story to tell. So welcome, Michelle.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. Thank you for joining us. And I know we've spoken before, but I really do admire your courage, and I think it's an incredible story, and it's one that we definitely have to share. So where I'd like to go first, I guess, is you're 42.
Yes.
How old were you when you first discovered, and how did you discover stomach cancer?
I was 39, and it was March 2011 when I was diagnosed with stomach cancer. I actually discovered it just through a gastroscopy after having several months of indigestion, and just basically got to the point where eating was really compromised, and the doctor suggested that I go and have a gastroscopy, and that's when they discovered the tumour right at the junction of the esophagus, where the esophagus meets the stomach.
So having discovered that, what was the next step for you? Obviously treatment, but how did you deal with that?
Well, being 39, stomach cancer was the last thing that, and even the GP was extremely shocked that, it's like an old man's disease. Young people don't get it, but the next lot was obviously, meeting with a surgeon, meeting with an oncologist, having a PET scan through the Austin Hospital, a laparoscopy, another gastroscopy, and just to make sure, and to find out where everything was and where the tumour was, at what stage the cancer was at. Huge, and really hard on the brain too, because everything seems to happen really, really quickly.
So with dealing with that emotionally, I mean, you've got kids,
yes,
and a husband to I guess deal with all of this as well. How did you cope?
I think the first thing that I did was actually pull in all of myself. So wherever I was overextending myself, it was just because it was all about me, and my main focus was doing everything that I could do to get through this and to be here for my kids and my family.
That's a lot to deal with at 39, and obviously you have, and you've done it amazingly well. And you've had the surgery, so there's no longer a stomach there.
Mm-hmm.
What's there instead?
I'm a tube. I liken myself to a seahorse because seahorses don't have stomachs, so they have to constantly eat all day. So what they did was they basically removed the whole stomach, and they joined the small intestine up into my esophagus with a nice dirty big round staple. And over time what will actually happen is the small intestine stretches, just, it gives you like a little pocket, but I can't sit down and have those big huge meals that I used to have. I have to be like the seahorse, and probably every 2.5 to 3 hours I have to have something, whether that's a drink or a banana or a handful of nuts or something like that. So probably how we should all be eating every day anyway. That's what I have to do now.
So digestion then is something a bit different for you to what it used to be?
Yes, very much so. Yeah, you have to get used to your new kind of normal. I can't eat that big fat steak and swallow a big chunk of meat because I don't have the stomach acid and the digestive juices in there to break all of that stuff down now. So all that stuff can potentially actually get stuck in my bowels and cause blockages in my bowels. So I have to be really careful, have to chew everything. So very important that I look after my teeth.
So what if you're eating something and think, well, I'm loving this, but it's just not going to go down, or it's not a good idea to swallow? How do you deal with that?
I spit it out. Yeah, quite often things like, what's a good example? Probably grapes. I love eating grapes, but sometimes I find the skin on the grapes, I can't break it down enough in my mouth to actually swallow. So, I just have a little napkin and discreetly, don't pull it out. Just discreetly, take it out. Yeah. But yeah, if I can't break it down, then it comes out.
Now, recently you've had some genetic testing done.
Yes.
The results not so good,
not so good.
No.
Not
so
good,
what is it, and what will that involve for you?
Okay, on Dad's side of the family, I had my father pass when I was 6 years old. He had bowel cancer. My auntie passed of ovarian. My uncle passed of pancreatic. So when I met with the Peter MacCallum Cancer Institute, the family planning side of the Peter MacCallum, they said that I fit under a family of like cancer clusters, which is called Lynch syndrome, possibly. So what they did was they took a swab of the tumour, which apparently they keep, and 2 of the 4 genes that have come back have tested like a mutation within the gene, which basically means for me that my risk of cancer was increased by like 80%. Because I carry this particular defect in this particular gene. So the other thing with that is as well, obviously, I'm at greater risk, and Lynch syndrome, unfortunately, doesn't skip a generation. So there's a possibility that I've actually passed that genetic gene down to one or both of my children.
So do they get tested for that? Is that something you're going to have to do shortly, or do they have to be a certain age for that to be done?
Yeah, once they hit adulthood, so anywhere between 18 and 25, they can get blood work done. Once they identify the specific gene, that's my next step. I have to go and get some blood work done. And then obviously they have to have a cancer plan put in place. So they may need to have yearly colonoscopies to remove any polyps before they potentially turn into anything. And I don't know, obviously that they might have to have blood tests, regular blood tests and things like that. So, yeah, I don't know. I'm yet to kind of go that extra step. But for me personally, it will mean, again, yearly colonoscopies. Maybe they might stretch out my scans. I may have to continue having CT scans for the rest of my life, or they may just check my blood work. I really don't know at this point in time. So,
how do you feel about that?
Oh, a little bit down a little bit about it. I think like anything, when you get news like that, you have to emotionally digest it. And then you kind of work through it in your own brain. Okay, how am I going to approach this? Am I going to be negative about this or am I going to be positive about this? As far as my stomach cancer, I beat the statistics. I'm 2 years past